Welcome to The Beam, where curiosity stirs conversations, taking us a step further into the future we desire. Here we bring you the issues that matter, the voices that challenge, and the insights that inspire. Of course, I'm Sunis Nathaniel, and last week on the program, we brought you religion, power, and the Nigerian polity. We asked, is faith liberating us or distracting us? And here are some of the things you said. We got feedback from Facebook. Bogsit says, religion is a tool used by greedy individuals to manipulate the discouraged from discouraged from critical thinking. And then you go to Solomon Luka. Solomon Luka says, many religious leaders protect businesses' interests. Calling out politicians threatens those interests, and Christians and Muslims alike. And when we get to X, Courage says, if we truly loved one another, we wouldn't need religion. Wow, those are very tough feedbacks and very honest feedbacks. It brings us to this week's very important discussion, because we're going to be looking at a follow-up as regards trust. And our trust, we're looking at Nigerians do not trust the system. They do not even trust the elections. They don't trust the empires. They don't trust the government. Sometimes they don't even trust technology. And so we are asking, can technology fix Nigeria's trust problem? And can it actually help the poor, lift them out of poverty? And joining me right now to do justice to this very important topic are two gentlemen. One with me here in the studio is Abdulaziz Hussein. He's the program officer for Connected Development Code. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right. I also have joining us via Zoom, Osita Okparugo, Esquire. That's a barrister, tech strategist, and impact entrepreneur. Mr. Osita, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I know you're also the founder of Dubali and Gets Bondi. So it's beautiful you're coming in as a lawyer and somebody who is also inclined technological-wise. So let's get it right off the ground. We're looking at that trust deficit. We're looking at the bridge between policy, technology, the people, development. And so I would ask, is technology really, in the last few years, have you seen technology build trust? Or is it simply exposing the broken trust within the Nigerian system? I'll begin with you here.
So thank you very much for that insightful question. And I would say to you, in all sincerity, technology is exposing the level of trust deficit within our system. It's not the technology that the Nigerian people are running away from. It's actually the policies and the way by which those who make the policy try to rig and manipulate the technology itself. Yeah. So when you look at, for example, we saw the introduction of the beavers in the 2019 election, even 2015 elections. When we saw the introduction of the beavers, it wasn't the beavers that was the problem. It was all the lack of trust in the system that affected the credibility of that particular election. It's not the introduction of technology. You could hear a lot of things about the beavers failing in some places. You could see upload of very blurry and shady kind of results from different sites. So it's not the technology, but the people managing this technology. So in the whole system itself, our policies by and large are rigged by or are laden by a heavy weight of mistrust from the population. So we've got people who are manipulating our policies, not wearing the hat of individuals who put Nigeria first, but wearing the hat of, I must go back to continue what I have started, right? If Nigeria was first, we should not be talking about huge funding for campaigns, utilization of talks during campaigns and elections. Rather, we should allow the people whom we've governed or whom we've represented do their things seamlessly and allow the policies come out to be so seamless, such that if I have done well, it's not a do or die affair. My people will want me to go back to continue the good work. If I have done poorly, I should go back home and rest. It's not a good do or die affair. But because we are already there, we begin to have differences in terms of the interpretation of the policies. And that's why our policy makers do not make policies that are very, very clear. They make policies to a large extent, leaving loopholes where they can manipulate.
All right, let us bring in, because we're coming back to that point. I like the way you have brought us back into, technology, elections, and policy. So let me go to Oparugo. He's come to that election. Electronic transmission of results is where we are. The solution, the digital rigging. The question then becomes, is this technology being neutral, or is it political systems like Nigeria that are manipulating them in such a way that we are not finding that result that technology is supposed to give us? Where do you pitch your tent?
So the issue here is not the technology. Technology is, as it is, the best thing that has happened to humankind today. Connectivity is the foundation for everything else. Connectivity. Whether you talk education, technology, digital health, fintech, AI, or e-government, simply will not scale without technology. If you come to election, I have refused not to talk politics across Africa. Because 4 months ago, I was in Tanzania and I refused to talk politics. Because the political leaders in Africa, including Nigeria, have used technology to the detriment of the people. And it's so sad. If kidnappers in Sambisa forest can use technology to transmit hostages, why can't Nigeria use technology to transmit the results? I don't want to talk about the disadvantage of technology, because you can find it. We will talk about the advantages of technology. And it pains me. It pains me that in Nigeria, with over 20 million educated youths, Nigeria, with over 20 million educated youths, cannot meaningfully create a business process outsourcing that will challenge Philippines. And Philippines, with less than 1.8 million people, within the business process outsourcing, made $34 billion in 2024. That is more than the budget of the entire Nigeria, 200, 300 million people put together. So technology is good. We have used it the wrong way. This is what I have continued to advocate across Africa.
Wow.
Thank you.
It's mind-boggling when you talk about $34 billion. And it begs the question, before I come back to the studio, it begs the question, is it that we are not really channeling technology as young people, especially the young people, towards proper business arrangements that gives us that kind of a skill? Or what is really wrong? You are the roots, yes? So what's wrong?
The wrong is in the policies, not the young people. Government has to set up the right policies that support remote work and digital exports. Connectivity, like I said, is everything. If the graduate, the educated one in Mbaitoli local government area in Imo State, where I come from, or in Zamfara, don't have the right connectivity to engage or export talent, what would that individual do? Government has to look at rural coverage obligations versus operator profitability. Government must set in place the right infrastructure that enable Nigerian youths to commercialize their skills. So the problem is not with the youth. The problem is that Nigeria have not put the right policies in place that will support formal degrees versus short-cycle skill training. When people have the right skills that lead to the current job paths and have the right connectivity to commercialize those skills, Nigeria will grow. And look at the statistics. Data don't lie. Fools who operate the data lie, but data never lies. It's only the fools who operate the data that lie. And the data is clear. The data says that Philippines in 2024 made $34 billion. and that is more than the budget of Nigeria in the same year. Why don't we engage in meaningful policies that support youth education, youth development, so the youth who have acquired the right skills will go ahead and monetize those skills? So it's the policy here. It's not the youth, please. Thank you.
Wow, well, we are really on the side of the youth. I mean, I'm a youth, so I know what we are putting in. I know what we are trying to do to survive in this nation, and it's good that you have said it, that it's about the policies that shape the operations of the young people, and that's very important. So let's come back. We were talking earlier on as regards development, policy, the empowering of the poor. How do we tie it? Looking at what he has just said, what he has just said is very critical. How do we tie it? Where do we go from here?
So the problem is actually multifaceted, and we can approach it from different angles. So I'll take, for example, building on the submission made by my brother. He said that the policy is not the issue, but is actually, the youth are not the issues, but the policies, right? So I'll give you an example. Why would you make mathematics and English compulsory during WAEC? Right? You make it compulsory during WAEC, but business, for example, and anything related to technology is not compulsory. That's one. Number two, during the same examination period, those who get the highest marks, cut-off mark during JAMB, can go for medicine and other engineering courses. And those with the least score go to colleges of education as well as polytechnics. Are we attaching similar importance to the future of the country in terms of technological drive, in terms of utilization of these knowledge and skills built in the system if we manage them well? Because some of these youths you find today using the technology wrongfully are actually those who, out of their own desire, decided to go learn some of these skills. And they learn these skills the wrong way. They learn from the wrong people, as the policy made it compulsory for them to learn it the right way. So it's not the youth, but the policies. Again, you want technology in terms of because you've not curtailed all of this problem of youth going to gain technological skills the wrong way, you want people to go technological in terms of doing businesses. Our elderly women and fathers who are in the remote areas do not understand these technologies well, so they get exploited by these people, thereby pushing back the drive for technological adoption. Again, you want people to come out and vote. The youth want electronic transmission of results. But you are scared that this technology could be adopted, could be hijacked, right? That this technology could be hijacked. And I had somebody, one of the lawmakers, even arguing that it could be hijacked as part of the fear, right? But again, you have people in the system that you could have trained. From the last election to the next election we're expecting is enough time for us to have built a very strong and capable team that could manage this technology that the people want. So that we can have a transparent system, and we can have confidence built in the system, and we can have development come to the people the way they desire it. So this is a very complicated issue, and just like I mentioned from the beginning, it all boils down to the issue of self-deceit by the leaders thinking they alone can fix the problem. If you have done your best in the last 4 years and people feel, or the youth feel you've not done enough, please step aside and let other people come and do their part.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, well, you're watching The Beam, where comfort is questioned, power is examined, and indeed, the future is held to account. We'll be right back. This conversation is just starting. All right, welcome back. This is The Beam. Let's go deeper into building that trust between policy, between technology, and the people. Let me go to Mr. Barugo. Let's come to e-transfer segas. We have blockchain, educational technology. Where does this play into building that trust we are looking at? Where does this play into, getting us into that digital economy the way we want to get into it, and ensuring that we are making that kind of money that you've been calling, that we need as a nation to ensure that nobody is left out of the digital divide?
So very simple, right? That brings us back to the high spectrum fees versus expanding by access. So you see what has happened in the banking sector. Before, you have to have the core banking account to operate an account, okay? And today, if you go to villages, you see people operating several accounts out of those fintechs, and it's working. That fintech operation has bridged or supported those who are excluded from the financial sector. So why don't we do what we have done as a nation in the financial sector towards education? Why don't we do that towards healthcare? This will help build the trust. Come on. People in remote areas are using the fintech operators, right? And I tell you, if the banks don't re-strategize, the core banks, right? I'm not going to mention any names, we're not promoting any of them, right? If they don't re-strategize, by 2030, they will lose 50%, if not 60% of their customers to these fintech operators who are now using technology to reach the Nigerians, our people who are ordinarily excluded from the financial sector. Now, government has to look at education. They have to first look at the curriculum and privatize it in a way that supports EdTech, in a way that's agri-tech. What done in the financial sector, in education, it must be done in agriculture, it must be done in... But people have confidence in the government. That's the reality. And for that to work, private sector partnership must be encouraged. Policies that support private sector partnership must be put in place. Secondly, you have to look at the language. Language is the biggest barrier of promoting technology, education, or edtech, be it in agri or even the fintech or healthcare. We must begin to think, how do we reach more of our people excluded from the education system with technology? So we have to create content in indigenous languages. We have to create infographics, do things, policies that support, like my brother in the studio said, policies that support inclusive use of technology. You don't have to have a formal degree to advance in technology if it is only based in English language. Listen, let me tell you, if you go to Aba today, there are more than 20,000 shoemakers who are beginning to export shoes, who have learned how to do this business in Igbo language. If you go to the north, you will find beautiful people there who are doing amazing stuff in textile sector, in Hausa language. You have to begin to think, how will government support massifying education in indigenous languages with the use of technology? If we do that, this country will boom. And then again, we must prioritize STEM education. STEM. I said it in 2024. I was dragged all over the internet that 80% of Nigerian graduates do not have right digital skill sets that support today's economy. They carry certificates that mismatch today's job opportunities. So we must rethink the curriculum. We must rethink access to education, and we must look towards STEM. But it is not enough to say we have created a good curriculum. If you create a STEM curriculum with teachers who don't even understand advanced digital literacy in communication and collaboration, how would they use digital tools to teach the students in Niger State? I was in Niger State in 2024. My heart bled. I was in Mina with the commissioner for digital economy, a detribalized Nigeria. He took me around schools. My heart still bleeds that we have teachers who do not have the right understanding of advanced digital literacy. If they don't, and don't even understand what STEM is, how will they transmit? How will they transfer knowledge? So, to cut it short, we have to look at STEM education. We have to look at creating content in indigenous languages. We have to look at train-the-trainer programs where our teachers are taught the right tools to transfer knowledge to our students. This is a government failure, and it has nothing, and I keep saying it, it has nothing to do with the youth. Your input determines your output. How you enter determines how you exit. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I'll come back to the studio. I'm going to be closing with you. I mean, it's a lot being said. Perhaps I wasn't even thinking about it in some of the lights in which I'm seeing it right now, and that goes deeper. So, in bringing it to a close, we have data tracking, transparency. Why does it feel like accountability is still an option? It's still optional in Nigeria. Why does it feel that way? And what happens, eventually, if technology is not used in the way we are talking about it now? What happens to us a few years down the line? I think that's where we're going to be closing with you.
So I'm going to take your last question first before going back to why transparency and accountability feels like it's not just where it should be. The truth of the matter is, in the next 10, 15 years, if we do not use technology effectively, where we are currently is paradise. Yeah, because a lot of havoc would have been wreaked on our economy. It's going to affect the agricultural sector. It's going to affect education sector. It's going to affect the health sector. There's what we call symbolic interaction, right? Just move around. And I'm just giving you a simple task, and I'm sure probably you already find responses to some of the questions. Just move around and tell me which sector or which part of the economy the government pays more attention to, and which part do they pay lip service to. Go and check the Ministry of Health. Look at the structure, and look at the Ministry of Finance. Look at its structure. Then you don't want to go talk about the Ministry of Environment. What does the structure? Just the structure itself.
The structure alone, you are saying,
tells you how much priority the government gives to that sector. How much of a concern is it for the government? So when we talk about the whole climate change issue and the intervention, the use of technology in this area, go back and look at the ministry itself. The ministry is still an eyesore. Is that where you want the resources to pass through? Are you talking about improving health in terms of technology and all of that? Go and look at the ministry. Is that where you want the resources to pass through?
We need to close. I must thank you, Mr. Hussein and Mr. Omarogo. I must thank you guys for coming on the program today. I think we should have this conversation going some other time. We must invite you guys back again.
We look forward to that.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's the most we can take on the beam today. We'll be leaving you right now with our top 5 videos of the week. I'm Soon as Nathaniel, and as always, we urge you, stay curious, stay informed, Stay engaged and keep beaming your light where it matters the most. May this great nation continue to rise and flourish. Bye for now. This week we begin our countdown with an interview in which Defense Minister General Christopher Musa says he was a target in the recent coup plot against President Tinubu.
So for me, it's not a compensation. It's just there knowing that he understands that what we are doing, we were sincere, we were deliberate about it, and wanted the best for our country. And I think that's what works with it.
You were also instrumental in helping save his life and some of those who would have been killed in that planned coup.
As always, I was also a target, I am sure you know.
You were supposed to be locked up.
Now, I was supposed to be arrested, and if I refused, I was supposed to be shot.
In fourth place, Senator Adams Oshomole speaks on President Trump's commendation of the First Lady, Remi Tinubu. Coming third on our list this week, American streamer Kai Cenat says he wants to understand Lagos more and keep exploring it.
We're honored to be joined today.
In second place, President Donald Trump praises Remi Tinubu at prayer breakfast, calls her a very respected woman.
But we're honored to be joined today by the First Lady of Nigeria, who also happens to serve as a Christian pastor at the largest church in Nigeria, a very respected woman. First Lady, please, where are you? Thank you.
And finally, coming tops on our list this week, American streamer Kai Cenat again reveals the real reason he returned to Nigeria.
I came here 2 years ago, and I completely enjoyed it. Everybody showed me love in Nigeria. Like, I'll go back to America, and I tell people Nigeria is the place to go, because a lot of you guys, y'all showed me a lot of love when I first was here, and to experience it now again on a more personal level, it feels good.
That's it on our countdown today. Join us next week for more.